Hey, what's up, guys? So, Season 6 is here, and we got about 10 days left of SSF. So, a lot of people have been asking me, they don't really know how to build Warlock right now, and they're kind of struggling, because Warlock is a difficult class to play, especially at the beginning of Wipe, and SSF does not make it easier. The reason for this is because you need, like, specific stats and rolls in order for Warlock to actually, work and do damage and stuff, and be fast enough to run away. So you'll need, like, True Magic, you'll need high movement speed, you'll need a little bit of HP, and then, of course, you'll need a ton of Magical Heal, which Magical Heal rolls on gear can be kind of difficult to find, especially on rings and pendants. But this is going to be the beginner's SSF guide for Caster Lock. First off, before we get started, we're going to talk about a couple things that were a couple shadow changes that they didn't really announce in the patch notes. I'm sure you guys know the skill that Warlock uses, Phantomize, which pretty much just lets you go invulnerable for about 6 seconds, but you take increased damage to magical damage. They gave this a shadow buff, and it's actually pretty insane now. So when you use Phantomize, you are able to push the F key to cancel Phantomize at any point in time, which is actually really awesome, because Phantomize was always one of those annoying skills, kind of RNG, because you can't cancel it. You just have to wait for the entire duration of Phantomize to go out. So, like, people could, like, time it in their head when you're going to come out and stuff like that. But now that you can cancel it on your own, you can decide when you want to come out, and if you have your weapon out, you can cancel and immediately swing on somebody. So now players have to be a little bit careful when they're chasing you in Phantomize. So that was a huge change. I think that was a really good change. Another change that they didn't really talk about beginning of the season, like a shadow patch, is the fact that they changed the way the magic weapons work as far as the damage goes. Last season, all of the magic weapon damage was all the same, right? So, for example, like an epic crystal ball was 5 damage, an epic spellbook was 5 damage, and an epic magic staff with 5 damage. But now this season, an epic spellbook is 5 damage, an epic crystal ball is 7 damage, and then the epic magic staff is 8 damage. So yeah, the magic staffs are going to be hitting like crazy. So, yeah, first of all, staffs are back. We're going to be doing bonk lock. Second of all, spellbooks are kind of weak now. I mean, they're not necessarily weak, but they're like the weaker option, which I think is actually, I don't mind that too much, because, I think the kiting meta was kind of annoying anyway, so now you get more benefit if you don't. Like, you do more damage, so you promote other builds. It's kind of nice. But yeah, that's another change I didn't really talk about. Next up, we'll go over the perks and skills that you're going to be using for the Caster Lock builds. So the Caster Lock build is primarily Torture Mastery, and Torture Mastery essentially just allows your Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice to heal you. And then obviously the next perk that you want to use with Torture Mastery is Vampirism, because Vampirism just boosts that, gives you a little bit more magical healing with that. Typically I don't use Vampirism unless I'm at least 12 magical heal, but honestly, because of SSF and how difficult it is to find magical heal pieces, I would use it just anyway, because it's kind of tough. And then the other two perks we're going to run is Soul Collector. Soul Collector, pretty much you kill a mob or a player and it gives you 1 shard. Each shard gives you 33% dark magic bonus, and then each shard also gives you +1 all attributes. The reason why this is good is because with the 3 shards that you can collect, you can maintain it as long as you don't use any dark magic spells. So you'll end up with 3 knowledge, 3 vigor, 3 will, 3 all stats, and it's really nice because you need that cast speed. You need a little bit more damage from will, some more HP from vigor. So yeah, that's pretty good. And then the last perk we're gonna grab is Anti-Magic. Anti-Magic helps you in beating some matchups against wizards and sorks, because they do exist and they still do pretty decent amount of damage. All they really need is True Magic, and they're kind of hurting. And as far as the skills go, obviously we're going to be using Phantomize. Phantomize is just the iconic Caster Lock, because you don't really want to get close to people, so that allows you to run away from them, or, obviously you can use Phantomize to be offensively now because you can cancel him, which is dope. And then the second skill we're going to be using is the Spell Memory slot. And the spells, as far as the spells go, you need Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice. Those are your main 2 spells you're going to be using to heal up mobs and heal up players. Curse of Pain just does an initial damage, and then it does additional damage over time. Power Sacrifice is an interesting spell. It's actually kind of a buff, but you could use it to do damage to certain players. You have to be careful on what classes you use Power Sac against. Like, you don't want to use a Power Sacrifice against melee classes, because when you curse them, you give them 15 strength and 15 vigor, so they get really strong and they can do a lot of damage to you. So unless it's an emergency and you need health and you have to double power sack them and Curse of Pain them, you can do it. But otherwise, I would only power sack casters or mobs. Yeah, and if you miss your power sack, you're going to hit yourself and do damage to yourself, so don't miss. And then obviously we're going to run Hydra. If you have a 12 magical heal, you can run Hydra, because then you can heal off of your Hydra and you'll get, you know, some benefit off of it. But if not, you don't have to run Hydra if it costs too much spell memory. And then obviously we're going to use Flame Walk, and then we're going to use Bolt of Darkness. Flame Walk's actually a really good spell. I wasn't really too into it until I started using it as of lately, but it's actually pretty insane, especially with staff, because of how much damage staff does when you have your staff out. You can actually melt people with it, so Flame Walk is actually insane. And then obviously the Bolt of Darkness is a really good spell. Just keep in mind that when you use Bolt of Darkness, it consumes all your shards, so you have to be careful and decide when you want to use it. But when it does consume your shards, it essentially does 99% more damage, dark magic damage bonus. So you're going to be hitting like a truck if you hit them with your max stacks. But then you got to eat your stacks again, you lose your 3-all. So it's pretty much up to you. So let's go over all the different gear and all the different stats that you should be prioritizing when looking for stuff during SSF. Just keep in mind that you can also gem a lot of different things into your gear. They did nerf quite a few different gemming options, like rings, for instance. You can only gem up to 1 magical healing, and you know, different things were changed. I think this is because the goldsmith merchant, it's based off your affinity, right? So the more quests you complete, the higher your affinity for the goldsmith, meaning that the higher gem roll options that will come once you get your affinity up. But we are kind of stuck here because we haven't got any more quests. I think it's going to be a slow process over the course of the season. So we're going to start with the headpiece. Pretty much the only headpiece you're going to be wanting to look for this particular caster lock build is the Cultist Hood. The reason for this, Cultist Hood gives the max amount of magical healing on any piece of gear that you can find, so it's definitely going to be the most useful piece. And because of how hard it is to find magical heal rolls anyway, especially during SSF, because you can't just buy stuff off market, you're really going to need this. And the prioritize of the stats is going to be True Magic, additional move speed, double stat rolls, so that could be Vigor, Knowledge, Will, depending if you need health, cast speed, spell mem, or a little bit of damage, and HP is like probably the bottom of the list there. But yeah, that's pretty much all you're going to need for your headpiece for this build. And then next we got the gloves that you're going to be looking for. Pretty much, once again, just like the Cultist Hood, Mystic Gloves gives magical healing, which means this is pretty much going to be the only option for gloves that you're going to want to use. You don't really need to find anything higher than a purple, because purple gives 3 magical healing base. Legendary gives 3 magical healing base too, but it just gives 1 more magic power. So you might as well just find purples and just stick with that, because it'll get too expensive if you try to gem anything else. And the stats you're looking for is going to be double stats, whether that's Vigor, Knowledge, Will, health rolls, and then any damage, magic damage bonus rolls that you can find. Next up are the boots. So for the boots, pretty much the only pair of boots you want to get is the Lightfoot's boots, because it's just the fastest pair of boots, and you need to be as fast as you could be with the caster Warlock. I guess you could do occultist boots if you wanted to and get some add move speed rolls on them, but ever since they nerfed the base move speed on the occultist boots, they just didn't seem worth running. And you know, another alternative could be like lace turn shoes and stuff, but you know, Lightfoot's is just the best. I would just stick with Lightfoot's. And for the stats you want to prioritize, probably the best stat is add move speed. I believe they did nerf it though. I don't think it used to go up to like +5 add move speed on the boots. Now I believe it's +3, but it's still one of the best rolls you can get. So add move speed, and then any of the double stat rolls, which is, you know, what, Vigor, Will, Knowledge, and then health is probably the last roll that you want on the boots. And for the chest pieces, you got 3 different options here. You got the Frock, the Adventure Tunic, and the Mystic Vestments. The Frock is -6 move speed, but has agility base, and it also has knowledge base, so it'll give you cast speed and spell memory, and the agility will offset some of the high move speed reduction on the piece. Adventure Tunic is -3 move speed, but gives health. The Mystic Vestments gives Will, which gives you damage and magic resistance, and it's -3 move speed as well. Keep in mind the priority of stats you're going to be looking for on chest pieces. Number 1 is going to be magical healing. It can roll up to 3 MH on all the chest pieces, so that's the first thing you need to look for this build. Next up, you can get all attributes. This is one of the changes that they made. I believe instead of getting all attributes from rings, you can get them from chest and pants, so just keep that in mind. And then after that is the add move speed, or the triple stat rolls, which can either be Vigor, Knowledge, or Will. And then last but not least, health. is on the bottom of that list. As for the pants, you have 4 different options here. You have the leather chouse, which is cast speed, spell memory. You have the loose trousers, which gives you agility, which is more move speed. You have the sleek-eyed pants, which gives you will, of course, which is magic damage and magic resist. And then the padded leggings, which gives you health. All of these options, pretty much all of the gear for this caster warlock are all going to be light pieces of gear because you got to be as fast as possible. You do not want to be caught in melee combat. The roles that you're going to want to look for on these gear, number 1 is going to be all attributes, and then add move speed, and then triple stat rolls. Remember, it goes up to triple. You know, you don't have to find, it's kind of rare to find 3 stat rolls, so if you find 2 or even 1, it's okay. But just keep in mind, this is what you should be looking for, you know, so you know if something's valuable or not. And the roles, obviously, once again, are vigor, knowledge, and will. It really depends on, you know, what you need on your kit. And then health at the very bottom of that. As for the rings, you have 3 different options. You got the Ring of Vitality, which gives HP, Ring of Wisdom, which is cast speed, spell mem, Ring of Quickness, which is move speed, and then the Ring of Resolve, which gives will, which gives a little bit of damage and magic resist. The roles that you are looking for the rings, number 1 is going to be magical healing. It's really difficult to find magical healing on rings, so that's why it's like the most valuable. After that is true magic, add move speed, and then double stat rolls that can roll on your rings. As for the pendant, you have a couple different options. You have the Phoenix Choker, which is typically the main choice for a lot of caster locks because it gives all true damage, and the higher the rarity, the more true damage. And then you have the Necklace of Peace, which gives health. This is typically, I only use the Necklace of Peace when your build is a little cooked and you don't have as much HP as you need. You can make do with the Necklace of Peace as long as you make sure that you have a true magic roll on there as well. So for the stats for the Choker, 3 magical heal is what you want to look for at the highest end. All attributes, add move speed, and then triple stat rolls. Those are the most valuable rolls for the pendant. And for the Necklace of Peace, it's magical heal, then true magic, all attributes, add move speed, and then triple stat rolls. To the cloaks you need to be looking for. We have the Splendid Cloak, which gives damage and magic resistance because of the will. Vigilant Cloak, which gives health. And the Adventure Cloak that gives move speed. Finally, we have the Radiant Cloak that gives cast speed and spell mem, which is knowledge. The stats you should be looking for, number 1 is true magic. You always need a true magic on every piece of gear that you can possibly get it, because that's the warlock's main source of damage. Add move speed, double stat rolls. Once again, that could be vigor, that could be knowledge, that could be will, just depends on whatever piece you have. Keep in mind, you can't roll the same stat piece that's on the gear. For instance, if you have a Vigilant Cloak, you can't roll vigor on it because it is vigor based. And then finally, HP. As for the weapons you should be looking for, because of the changes in weapons, it's kind of up to preference what weapons you want to use. So the Crystal Ball is kind of like a medium damage, medium move speed. The Spellbook's low damage, high move speed, and the Magic Staff is high damage, low move speed since the changes. And the stats that you want to be looking for, pretty much just magical healing and add move speed is pretty much all that you need. And then find some HP on there to help you out a little bit, but it's nothing too crazy. Alright, so that was a ton of information. We went over every single stat, every single piece that you should be using for this build. But let's try and break it down as simple as we can so you guys can just be like, okay, this is what my stats should look like. So first things first, whenever you're making caster lock, you got to check your spell memory. Make sure for whatever spells you're running that you have enough spell memory to actually run the build. The next thing you want to check is your cast speed. Bare minimum, your cast speed should be 15%. Obviously, you want it to be higher, especially if you're using staff, because the cast speed animation is a little longer, but you want it at least 15%. As for move speed, because this is SSF and a lot of people aren't going to be as fast as they normally would be, especially since the additional move speed nerf on the boots alone, they're going to have to find that extra move speed on all the other pieces of gear. Your move speed requirements aren't as high as they were last season. So 305 to 310 is what your move speed should be minimum for this caster lock build. And then make sure that your kit has full true magic. That means for the rings, you should have 1 true magic each, so that's 2. You should have 1 true magic for the cloak, 1 true magic for the headpiece, and then run a choker. Now obviously the higher the rarity of the choker, the more true magic you get. Or if you run a pendant, make sure you at least gem in 1 true magic on your pendant. And then for the HP, make sure you're at least 125 to 130 HP bare minimum. Because anything lower than that, you risk the potential of getting 1 tapped. And then finally, magic power bonus. Try and be at least 20%. These are just the minimum requirements. Try and get above that if you can, but these is bare minimum, especially for 224 high roller. But that pretty much sums it up. Hopefully this helped out a lot. There's a lot of information here. They messed with the stats a lot, so there's like a lot of different changes to, you know, the things. So yeah, it's kind of cool. But you know, we'll see how the end game is with all these different stat changes, like all attributes being re-added to like chest and pants, and you know, the uniques being 4x. Oh, stats, it's gonna be crazy. But yeah, this is pretty much the first guide. If you like the video, let me know in the comments if you guys want me to make a different SSF guide for different classes. There actually isn't 10 days left, there's about 9 days left. So, you know, if you guys want me to make another one, I'll definitely do it. It takes a lot of time, but as long as it helps you guys out, because SSF can be kind of tough, especially if you're new to the class on caster, or if you just are not that good at making your builds, it can be kind of difficult. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to hop in the Discord, it's in the description, and everyone have a good one. Peace.